Good morning, everybody. Good morning and happy Sunday to you. I am so excited about today. I am so excited about today because what I believe today is that so many of you are going to walk in your purpose. And I believe that so many of you in this moment, you're going to come into the fullness of everything that God has really created you to do and to be. I think that for so many years, many of us, we walk around hiding behind what others desire for us. We hide behind expectations that others may have, and we hide behind fears and insecurities. And I really believe that today was a day designed, that was purposed in heaven to really align you with the truth of who God has created you to be so that you can actually do everything that you were created to do and not be limited by any boundaries or limited by any doubts, fears, or expectations of others. I really do believe that this is a day that God has designed just for you. And more than anything today, I want you to see the goodness of the gifts that God has put on the inside of you. And I really want you to live out this life and this truth that God has so desperately and so greatly poured and pulled you into walking into. In doing this, there is a war. There is a war between who you're called to be and what the world wants to pull you to do and to be. There is a war. I heard this statement that really drove something at home inside of me. And this statement was by the great Nipsey Hussle. He made this statement that said, he read one time, "Would you rather be at war with yourself and at peace with the world, or at war with the world and at peace with yourself?" And I think that is the position that many of us operate from. Being at peace with the world to fit in, but at war with ourselves because we never fully live out and do what we were called to do and who we were called to be. We allow the limitations, we allow the fears, we allow the expectations of others to limit who and what and how we were created by the creator of the universe. There is a scripture that really rings in my spirit right now, and that is in Exodus chapter number 2, verse number 11 and 12. It says, "One day after Moses had grown up, he went out to where his own people were and watched them at their hard labor. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people. Glancing this way and that, and seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. This became a war that Moses began to fight. Moses, the man who led the children of Israel out of Egypt. It became a war. Now, we all know the story of how Moses was sent away. He was hidden and he was picked up by an Egyptian, and he was raised in the house of the Pharaoh. But yet he was fully Hebrew, raised in an Egyptian home, right? We see this war where he was created by God to be a Hebrew. But yet he was placed in an experience that defined his makeup, and his culture. But being honest with himself, he knew who he was and that he was always different than everybody else that was around him. And that's where many of you are right this very moment, knowing that you are different, that you have been given gifts and talents that everybody else around you does not have. You can see what others cannot see. You understand what others don't understand, even within your own family. You see, there are some that are listening right now, and you've been destined to listen to this message. No matter why you think you're listening to this message, you may think it's because someone invited you on. You may think that is because you know me and you're a friend of mine. But I believe that this was a divine alignment to really begin to speak to that part of you that God has created. And now is your time to do and to be all that you were called to be, and to be called out and to lead out those that were assigned to you. You see, with this great call and this great gift that's inside of you, there are people that God has assigned that will only hear your voice. And they will be led out of the places of their misery because you are willing to be bold enough to step into your purpose and to step into the future that God has called you to step into. There are some people right now, right this very second, that are sitting in places of misery, sitting in places of pain, sitting in positions that they don't know what to do with. And they are waiting for you to come into the fullness of who you were called to be. That person that maybe you have been ashamed to be. That person that maybe you are fearful to be. That person that maybe you are intimidated to be. That person that maybe your family, your friends, and all of those that are around you have told you that you shouldn't be. Maybe not physically told you, but maybe they have shown you enough to let you know that no, you can't do that. And you have lived within those limitations for so many years. Well, today is the day that you fully come forth and you step boldly into this person that God has ultimately designed you to be. You know, I'm old enough, I'm going to date myself really quickly. I am old enough to remember years ago when my family and other families had sofas that they liked. And they would wrap the sofas in that plastic covering. And I thought it was so foolish because the sofas would always be wrapped in this covering. And you could never get the full usage or comfortability out of the sofa. You would sit on the sofa, and if it was the summertime, you would sweat and your legs would stick to this sofa. You could never experience the plushness of the comfort of the seat. And that's where many of you are right now, where you have been wrapped up to protect you. But no one is ever able to sit in the comfort of who you were created to be. The cushions are never able to be fully experienced. Your past, your future, your gifts, your talents are never able to be fully experienced because you've been limited. You've been limited by expectations of others, desires of others. In some instances, what has cultured you, what has contoured you, is as a result of the circumstances and the situations that you have been placed in. the things from your past that have made you feel shame and guilt. The things from your past that have given you that trauma that stops you, that limits you from stepping out on the stage or stepping out in the spotlight of your life. This is where Moses was. This is where Moses was. Afraid, fighting, battling, warring within. But Moses had a moment, a defined moment by God, where his two worlds collided. The world of what he was created to do and to be, and the world of who he had to become in order to fit in. He had a moment where these things collided together. And that's where you are on this day. You are now at the place where your worlds are colliding together. And in his experience, he saw someone beating who he was. And something rose up in him and it caused him to respond. And this is the point that God has been ushering you to. All of the current events that are going on around you right now are actually ushering you. They have ushered you. They have led you to this place because God is calling out of you. He is drawing out of you so that you cannot avoid any longer. I want to talk to someone very deeply right here. You can no longer avoid the calling that has been placed on your life. You can no longer avoid the gift of who you are, the gift of who you have been created to be. You can no longer avoid walking in the fullness of your true identity. You can no longer avoid this. As long as we live within others' expectations, we limit and we stop who God has created us to be. Now, it's a journey to walk in the steps that you were ordered to walk in by God. Because it comes a point where you have to recalibrate constantly your mind. You have to recalibrate your mind in every experience, in every moment, and you have to ask yourself, is this what I was truly called to do? Or is this what I do because I was limited by my experiences? It comes a point where you have to constantly challenge yourself in understanding and thinking this until it becomes natural for you to begin to walk in the purposes that you were designed and destined to walk in. For some of you, it's going to mean that you literally have to go back to your first gift, your first love. For a lot of you, it's going to mean that there are some people in your life that are not going to be happy. They're not going to be happy. They're not going to be satisfied. It's a struggle when you begin to wrestle with the identity because you're not going to fit in everywhere. And you've got to be okay with not fitting in because you were called to lead people out. You see, you can't fit in with people. And you've got to be okay not fitting in when you were called to be a game changer, a forerunner, a trendsetter, one that will lead people out of a place. You've got to be willing to take moments to challenge yourself and ask yourself, am I just fitting in, or Am I leading? Am I leading? It's a battle for many of us because there are strongholds that the enemy is designed to hold you hostage so that you will never become. But what the enemy does not understand and does not realize is that the things that he has used to stop you, the things and the trauma that he has used to try to block you from going forward, that God has designed those things as tools and resources for you to go forward. There is a scripture that often comes to my mind. In Exodus chapter 4, verse number 10, where Moses says, "O Lord, I've never been one of eloquent speech. Neither in the past have I spoken. I am slow of speech and of tongue." He speaks of his insecurities. He speaks of his issues, his problems that are limiting him. And he lifts these things up before God, because these things were stopping him from being able to walk fully in his gift and in his calling. But then there's another scripture in Acts chapter number 7 that we discover, and we find out that as Moses steps fully into the calling and into the gift and the truth of who God has created him to be, Acts chapter 7, verse number 22, it says that Moses was strong of speech, educated with wisdom, with the wisdom of the Egyptians, and was powerful of speech and action. What we understand is that as Moses began to fulfill his gift and his call, that all of those struggles, all of those issues, they became a point of strength for him. And this is what God is speaking to you even right now, that those areas that you fear, that you struggle because of, these things will become your source of strength. So don't be afraid to step out. I want you to take this message today as a stamp of approval. I want you to hear these words, and I want you to understand that it is okay for you to walk and to do what you were called to do and to be the very person that God has called you to be. And do not allow your limitations to hold you back anymore. Allow people to experience the comfort of who you truly are. Allow people to experience the love of who you really are. Walk fully in your gift, fully in your calling. Allow this to be the day that you say no limits, no boundaries. My past will not hold me hostage anymore. Fear will not grip me from walking in this. There is no limitation that a person can place on me. There is no expectation that my surroundings can place on me to stop me from going forward to do what God has called me to do. And I believe that there is full provision in the truth of your calling. That as you step out, you will find out that God is with you. And that greater is he that is within you than he that is within this world. Don't be at war with yourself anymore, just to be at peace with the world. Be at peace with the world. Be at peace with yourself, even if it means that you have to now be at war with the world. I want you to fulfill the greatest gift and the callings, and allow those seeds of greatness that are inside of you to come forth. This is your defining moment. This is your message that launches you forward. This is your homecoming. This is your celebration station. This is your point of delivery. This is the season that you prayed for to arrive at. This is the very words that you were waiting to hear so you could go forward. This is your invitation to step into you. This is your invitation to step into you. If this message is resonating with you, and if I am speaking to you and you know that this message is to you, I want you to send me a message and say, you were talking to me. That message was to me. I needed this. And I want you to sow a seed. There's a link right down there at the bottom. Where you sow is where you shall take off. Where you plant is where you grow. And for many of you, this seed will be the seed of delivery. For many of you, this seed that you plant even on today, it will be the seed that will allow you to step into and fully claim the truth of your calling. Man, this is going to be a beautiful day for you. You have gone through so much hell just to get to this place. Oh, but things are about to change for the good. You will have so much undescribable joy as you fulfill the calling that the Father, the creator of the universe, has given unto you. God bless you today. I love you. And I love who you're becoming because I love who the Creator created you to be. Thank God for you. I love you.